Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and happy 4th anniversary to one of my favourite video games of all time, Until Dawn. And to celebrate Until Dawn's 4th anniversary and in anticipation for the brand new Supermassive games that is about to be released, Man of Medan, I thought, why not rank the characters from Until Dawn from my favourite to least favourite. If there's one thing that Until Dawn nailed, the best thing about the game is the characters. They are extremely divisive characters. Some are loved more by the fandom than others, but the majority of these characters you legitimately care about and want them to live through the entire game, and you better make sure you make the right decisions to keep them all alive. So without further ado, if you want to know my ranking of the Until Dawn characters from best to worst, then just keep watching. At number 8, my least favourite Until Dawn character is, sorry Emily fans, but Emily. Emily, for me, is the one character in the game with no redeeming qualities at all. I mean, I hated her character from the moment she was on screen. I can't take her bitchy personality and how freaking selfish she is, and how she treats everybody like shit, and she cares about literally nobody but herself, and never listens to anybody. You're especially mad at her for the way she treats Mats, her boyfriend, who is making effort with her and putting up with her. But you know what she does? She literally cheats on Mats in the very first chapter of the game with Mike, and she's never even honest to him about it, and never confesses to him. And the moment she steps into the lodge, she unnecessarily starts a fight with Jessica. She's like, oh my god, that is so gross. You trying to swallow his face off? Could she be any more obvious? No one wants in on your territory, honey. I'm not kidding, as she's that much of a bitch to poor Jessica. I see some people in the minority defend Emily by saying she's resourceful, smart, and is the one that calls for help on the watchtower, but to me, that's no excuse for her despicable personality. And I could see why she's the character that most players would want to kill off first purposely. And Nicole Bloom, her actress, is thankfully a sweet girl in real life, but her character, Emily, is simply the worst in the game. At number 7, my second least favourite character would be Josh. Now, Josh, similar to Emily, is a dick, but at least with Josh, you sympathise with him just slightly more, as he is grieving over his sisters, Hannah and Beth, who went missing after the prank a year ago. But that's no excuse for him to totally trick and betray his friends, who kindly came back and returned to his lodge a year after the prank to comfort him and be there for him, and to just put the prank behind them. But he dresses as a psycho, puts especially Ashley and Chris through such trauma, and he makes it just the worst night of everybody's lives. Sure, he's mentally scarred, but even that's no excuse to be an asshole. He doesn't realise that his friends didn't hurt him or his sisters intentionally. It was only intended to be a harmless prank. But his most unlikable scene by far is when Chris and Mike tie him up after they unmask him, and he insults poor Jessica and Ashley by saying Chris is an ass, Ashley's a dum-dum. Jessica's got a real tight butt, and I'm like, that's it, Josh. I'm knocking your ass unconscious with that plank of wood. I personally always pick the option when I play as Chris to hit Josh. Sure, Rami Malek gives one of the most stellar performances of the cast, as he is a chameleon like actor, and Josh does have some sympathetic qualities, but his behaviour was still unjustified. At number 6, Mike. Now, I don't hate Mike by any means, but I still think he's the most overrated Until Dawn character. I've seen some people rank him ever so high on their lists. Some even have him as number 1, but to me, he's not even close to the number 1 Until Dawn character. I mean, I rank him far lower than most on my ranking, because to start with in the game, he's an unlikable cheater. I'm sorry, but he totally cheated on Jessica with Emily and never told her about it, similar to what Emily did, and he only liked Jessa for her body. He doesn't care about girls for their personality, and he did get on my nerves. He was attempting to be funny and a prankster and the most annoying of the characters in the first 3 chapters. But after chapter 4, when he just bursts out of the cabin to go and rescue Jessica from the Wendigo, and then he enters the sanatorium, that's when he does become more likable and more badass as a character, to show that he does have at least a good side to him. And Mike is one of the characters with the balls to fight the Wendigo in the game. He is one of the more courageous, and he's even willing to amputate his fingers with the machete to free himself from the bear trap. And I love his friendship with Wolfie, the wolf who he befriends in the sanatorium. Sure, Mike does gets more likable in the second half of the game, but in the first half, I was not a fan of his character. So yeah, I have extremely mixed feelings about Mike. At number 5, Matt. Now, Matt isn't that bad as a character. He is genuinely friendly, and man, is he a gentlemanly and generous boyfriend to Emily. I don't know how they became boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know what Matt ever saw in Emily, or why he's so devoted to her, but he does put up with her shit frequently in this game. But he never really does anything wrong in the game, apart from being involved in the prank, but I'll let that slide, as he does defend Jessica and side with Jessica in the fight, so with Jessica and Emily, which I always pick the option to side with Jessica personally, and he can, spare the deer when he and Emily are walking through the deer herd. I never pick the option to harm the deer with the axe, because I can't bear to harm innocent animals. And you can, when he and Emily are on the watchtower, you can pick the option to just jump to safety and to just leave Emily there, which I'm sure everybody picks that option. And Matt can help Jessica make it out of the mine safely. I ship Matt and Jess as a couple. My one flaw with Matt is that he's barely in this game. You really want more from him. At number 4, Chris. Now, Chris is a true gentleman for the most part. He's not necessarily a perfect character, but he is overall a likeable gentleman, especially to Ashley. Him and Ashley are super sweet together. Their love story in the game is by far the most compelling. And Chris, he is likeable, as he was one of the characters that had literally no involvement with the prank, as he was drunk and passed out with Josh on the night of the but he is Josh's closest friend. But but he justifiably ends his friendship with Josh after Josh did betray them the night he invited them back, and throughout the game he is constantly putting Ashley first before himself. Depending on your decisions, when Chris is forced to make the decision to either save Ashley or save Josh from the saw blade, I always make Chris pick to save Ashley. And when Chris has to make the decision to either shoot Ashley or shoot himself, that's how much he cares about Ashley. He's willing to put that bullet through his head so that the love of his life will live. And yeah, and his and Ashley's kiss was, before he goes out to rescue Josh from the Wendigo, was adorable. And Chris's nerdy look gives him plenty of charm. Though he does have one or two moments where he acts like a dick, like when he just takes Jessica's diary without her permission, and also when he gets mad at Ashley just because she is being honest when she spots a ghost. But overall, Chris, you're a good chap. And now we come to the top three. These top three protagonists are flawless to me. I have nothing but positives to say about them, and I consistently always keep them alive in my playthroughs of this game. At number 3, the primary protagonist of the game, Sam. First and last protagonist that you play as. Sam is a fucking badass, and she's also such a caring and sweet soul. She cares about her friends so much. She wants even the most unlikable characters in the game to live, and she is against the prank on Hannah from the start when she's like, don't you think this is going a little far? And she's so sweet and affectionate to the squirrel that she meets. So when she's walking up to the lodge, when she feeds the squirrel. And similar to Mike, she's full of courage. She may be the biggest badass in the game. When her clothes are stolen, she gets out of the bath to go and search for them. And then she encounters the psycho, and she just chucks a vase at the psycho. And then she can even hit the psycho with a bat in self-defense. She can literally escape the psycho without any assistance, and she totally stands up and fights the Wendigo in the final battle in the lodge. And she is the character to save the day when she runs to the switch to flick it to blow up the lodge to defeat the Wendigo. She is the one female character in the entire game that never needs a man or a male character to save her. This is how you write a strong female character. Hayden Panettiere gives her most awesome performance to date as Sam. So yeah, absolutely love Sam. At number 2, Jessica. You know how I said Mike was the most overrated character in the game? Jessica is the exact opposite of that. Jessica, for me, is the most underrated Until Dawn character. In the first few chapters, she may act like a tough girl, and she was one of the characters that came up with the prank in the first place. But you can see she regretted the prank deeply. And once you get to chapter 3 and you find out that she's so insecure and she's only pretending to be the tough girl, but deep down she is a sweetheart. She especially cares hugely for animals, which I love, as I am an animal lover myself. So it's it's so sweet to see her care about the deer that's bitten by the Wendigo, and she's like, gosh, the poor thing, Mike, it's in so much pain. Yeah, and I'm like, Jess, you deserve a better boyfriend than that cheating Mike. And if Mike does get to her in time, which thankfully I make sure Mike does get to her in time on each of my playthroughs, then she lives and she falls down into the mines, and she can literally even if Mass isn't there, she can get herself out of the mines and escape the Wendigo. I love Jessica so much. I just wish she had far more screen time. She and Matt were the two characters that were totally robbed of screen time in the game, and and I and poor Jessica, she is the character that suffers more than any other. She has the most severe injuries from the Wendigo after she was dragged out of a freaking glass window, and I'm like, damn, poor girl. She would need some serious therapy and comforting after going through, well, that traumatic night. So I wanted to hug her multiple times in this game. Thank God I always save her life. And Jessica came close to being my number one favourite. And my number one favourite Until Dawn character would be Ashley. Ashley is the protagonist in this game, who I would love as a friend. She is the most innocent of all the protagonists, and the most relatable by far. I mean, she doesn't come to the lodger to do any harm, nor to cause any trouble. I mean, and she's the character that regrets the prank more than all of the others. She's by far the most apologetic when she's like, "Hannah, we're so sorry," and Ashley reacted the most convincingly to how somebody would act if they were literally alone on a mountain at night with a freaking serial killer and cannibal eating monsters on the loose. So I mean, you would be panicking. You would be shitting yourself, as would I. And Ashley is the one character to showcase that. I mean, Galadriel Steinman, she gives the greatest performance in the entire game. She's electrifying. She acted her heart out. And Galadriel was the one member of the cast to do an Until Dawn Q&A and answer the fandom's questions. So that's how passionate she is about her character and the game. She's such a charitable soul, and she's the ideal love interest for a gentleman like Chris, and she is a smart cookie. She is the Hermione of the group. So her knowledge that she gained from the books as she read sure do come in handy for our heroes. And people just hate on Ashley unnecessarily and bitch about her just because of one thing that the player can make her do if you stupidly shoot Ashley when you play as Chris. Well, if you shoot Ashley, then Ashley locks Chris out. She no longer loves him and just lets Chris die at the hands of the Wendigo. But I'm like, that was the player's fault, not Ashley's. I mean, Chris, by shooting Ashley, he showed he's an unlikable, selfish douche. I'm sorry, no good man would ever shoot his girlfriend like that. And so Chris was technically more in the wrong than Ashley ever was. I don't blame her. And you can make Chris more likable, just don't make him shoot Ashley, and then Ashley will more than let Chris in and save his life. And if Chris doesn't shoot Ashley but is still decapitated by the Wendigo, she is on the floor in tears. So see, she was perfectly likable there. So that shows she does care, and she's so caring when she hears what she thinks is Jessica's voice down in the mines, and is debating whether she should investigate the voice or not. And I love the moment when Ashley gets to defend herself from the psycho when she grabs the scissors she picked up and stabs the psycho with them. That was badass. And she had the best intentions of the 8 friends. All she wants is to forget that the prank and last year ever happened and just go to the lodge to have fun with everybody. So yeah, Ashley, I am proud to call her the best Until Dawn character. So that was my ranking of the Until Dawn characters. There is no right or wrong list, and I made a ranking of the Detroit Become Human characters, or the Grand Theft Auto characters someday. I'd love to. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. And who is your favourite and least favourite Until Dawn character? Please kindly let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you all next time when I give my thoughts on the Lady and the Tramp live action remake trailer. And remember, movies are us. Bye guys.